This man never imagined that a rookie adventurer who had just reached E rank would turn out to have not one, but 4 S-rank masters. The first was a cute-looking girl whose playful attacks were stronger than 6th-tier spells. The second was a maid-like woman who could lift several tons of monsters with one hand. The third was a lazy-looking guy who could forge a weapon in under a minute, one strong enough to level anything in sight. And the last was a beastman who liked to read, yet one casual punch from him could kill an A-rank dragon. Realizing this, the man deeply regretted his earlier attitude. It had all started a little while ago, when he heard Riku had passed the first adventurer's exam. Wanting to celebrate, Lot invited Riku out for drinks, half-jokingly asking if he could meet his teachers too. He had no idea that a casual request would feel like signing his own death warrant. Riku warned him to bring his full gear before coming. Confused but curious, Lot followed the directions and arrived in a fog-covered region that looked more like a demon lord's castle than a home. Thinking he was lost, he checked again. No, this was the place. He knocked on a small side door, assuming the massive gate was off-limits for humans. To his shock, the small door was the wrong choice. Riku stepped out through the giant gate as if it were nothing. Lot was bewildered. Where were the monsters? Why the need for full gear if there was no danger? Riku just said flatly, so you won't be killed. Before Lot could ask what that meant, Riku opened the door. A maid was waiting. Lot relaxed, thinking Riku just came from a rich family. Then a little girl ran up. Lot thought she was Riku's daughter, or maybe a neighbor's child. He even imagined his own daughters growing up healthy like her. But the child casually unleashed a spell on par with 6th-tier magic. Lot nearly fainted.
Cast with just a boom!
When Riku addressed her as sensei, he finally realized this was one of Riku's masters, and apparently, this was just playtime. Rinetto, the maid, scolded the girl, the repair costs are coming out of your meal allowance, Arisaretto. Arisaretto instantly apologized, begging Rinetto not to cut her food. Meanwhile Riku went off to play with Arisaretto to keep her from throwing a tantrum. Left on his own, Lot wandered around. Rinetto had told him to feel free, then vanished. Too big a place to explore alone, he decided to wait until he spotted a man outside assembling some strange contraption. Curious, he asked about it. Thankfully, Magetto had already been told Riku's friend would visit. He explained patiently, it was his latest invention. When Lot asked to try, Magetto even gave him a target and showed him how to fire. Lot pulled the trigger and the blast nearly took his head off. Magetto just nodded, muttering, still too much recoil. Needs tuning. Lot realized this man could casually invent a world-ending weapon. He decided it was safer not to snoop anymore. Heading back, he stumbled across a beastman quietly reading. The contrast was so strange, Lot couldn't help but approach. When he asked if the beastman might give him some training too, Burosutan was stunned. Lot's eyes reminded him of Riku's. After a moment, Burosutan agreed. He dragged Lot to a cliff, then without warning shoved him off. Screaming, Lot thought of his daughter's names, convinced it was the end.
That was close. Thank goodness. I'm saved. Wait.
But instead of dying, he landed on something soft. Looking around, he realized it was just the day's dinner, freshly hunted by Rinetto. That's when it hit him everyone in Riku's house was a monster in their own right. When he accused Burosutan of pushing him, Rinetto just shrugged. That's normal. Burosutan's the one who's killed Riku the most times so far. Lot was still reeling when Burosutan reappeared, calm as ever.